Raj Kapoor, one of the most influential Indian film personalities, was born 100 years ago this month. He was the greatest of the Kapoors, a film family that's been involved in the Hindi film industry for 4 generations. Prime Minister Modi recently called Raj Kapoor a soft power pioneer. Raj Kapoor made just 10 films, but each one was a classic, not just in India, but across the world. Their songs were hummed across the world, particularly in Soviet Russia. On the eve of his 100th anniversary, we talked to 2 ladies connected to films and Raj Kapoor. Ekaterina Filipova, she's a producer of Pan Atlantic Studio. She's currently filming in India. And we have Bhavna Somaya, of course, Indian film critic and journalist and historian. And also joining us is Sarfraz Alam, producer of this film Gems.
Namaste.
Hello.
Namaste, Ekaterina.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Ekaterina,
Namaste.
I must ask you this. Namaste. You're currently filming in India, and we are talking about Raj Kapoor being this bridge that connects India to Russia. You know, you had Avara, that film that was released in 1954. The songs are hummed across the world, especially in Russia. Tell us about what Raj Kapoor means to the people of Russia.
So it's a myth for Russian people, of course, because in Soviet time, Indian movie was incredibly popular in Russia,
Yes,
and the name of Raj Kapoor is known everywhere in Russia. If, of course, we are meaning the old generation, because they're interested more by American movie, by Russian contemporary movie, etc., etc., etc. That's why I find really important our first co-production between Russia and India, our first feature film, which will make again
Yes.
Indian trace, Indian style in movie popular in Russia.
right. Bring India back to Russia, what Raj Kapoor did so many decades ago. But Bhavna Somaya, you've been documenting Indian cinema for decades, and of course, you've interviewed Raj Kapoor several times. You know, explain for our viewers here the impact that Raj Kapoor really had across the world, particularly in the Russian Federation and in the Soviet Union, of course, prior to the Russian Federation. Why was he so immensely popular in Russia?
I have been documenting Indian cinema for a while, but I have not interviewed Raj Kapoor several times. I have met him about 2-3 times, and they were memorable moments, and I remember them very clearly. One day we had gone to the RK studio, and we were told that he was at the RK cottage, which
Right.
was adjoining the studio. And he called us over, and we had a cup of tea, and we continued to chat with him for a very long time. When he was making Ram Teri Ganga Maili,
Yes.
and he explained to us how the Ganga that starts from the Gangotri becomes polluted by the time it ends.
Right.
And Mandakini was the metaphor for the Maili, you know.
Yes.
I think it's not about Russia. I think I will leave about why he was so special to Russia to the other lady.
Yes.
But why he was so appealing to all of us, the Indians, is because he understood the common man.
Right.
And he made films for the common man, for you and me.
Yes.
And he catered to all gender, all generations. He understood the child. That one fantastic song, Nanne Munne Bache Teri Mutti Mein Kya
Yes.
Hai?
Yes.
You know, he made films about the street children. He
Right.
made films about casteism, about the dacoits,
Yes.
about somebody who is frightened because everybody is following him, like in Jagte Raho.
Yes.
And then he takes the last scene where Nargis tells him that if you've done nothing, what is there for you to get scared of?
Right.
And more than that, I think that he represented a generation
Yes.
where they were so full of courage and adventure.
Right.
He launched his production house. He became a director so young.
At
He made
24, he was a
art-
director at
he was so
24.
young. To make a studio, to have so many floors.
Yes.
And continue to do films. And there were times he made not very good films outside.
Yes.
But I think it is perfectly understandable. And today, when I'm older, I forgive him for those choices
Right.
because when you are making a film the kind he made, like
Yes.
Mera Naam Joker,
Yes.
and you are running a studio, you need chunk of money, and
Right.
that money comes from those kind of films, and it's perfectly all right to make that kind of concessions.
Yes.
The best thing about Raj Kapoor and his generation of filmmakers were that they used to share their scripts.
Yes.
He would send it to Bimal Roy, and Bimal Roy would send him a script, and they
Right.
would tell each other what was wrong with him. Today, none of these young guys do this because
Right.
they're paranoid about anybody robbing their stories.
Right.
And when he held his preview show, he called his entire staff his gateman watchman.
Yes. Yes.
And
Absolutely.
he told them that you are free to tell me what you don't like and say it is rubbish.
Yes.
Today, these guys spend crores and crores. They don't show a frame to anybody, and the film is a disaster.
The films are a disaster indeed. But Bhavna.
How vain can you be
Yes.
that you
Yes.
think that your perspective is right and
He's-
you're not taking feedback from anybody?
Absolutely.
It
Clearly,
makes sense.
he was a showman. I mean, that's the reason that he was called a showman. He was so ahead of the rest of the crowd, and he made those movies that really literally connected with everyone in India for the common man. And of course, these themes were universal, and that's possibly one reason why they felt they connected with people across the world, particularly in Russia. I want to talk to Sarfraz now. Sarfraz, you're co-producing this movie Gems, this Russian production which has come to India after a very long time. You've heard of a Russian crew, a cast and crew making a movie in India. What has been the impact of Raj Kapoor on the Indo-Russian relationship? How influential is Raj Kapoor still in 2024?
So, yeah, thank you very much for inviting. Uh, yes, we are talking about a legend today, and I probably can say that Raj Kapoor is quite, more famous in Russia, still in all the Soviet Union,
Yes.
than India and Indian parts, like in small villages and small towns. If you ask a young boy about in India, young boy about Raj Kapoor and how many movies he has done,
Right.
hardly what he can say. But in Russia and other CIS countries,
Yes.
even the youngsters still remember and they know, they learn about the movie of Raj Kapoor.
Right.
I shoot not only in Russia, in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, other countries also.
Right.
And Raj Kapoor is. I remember last year I gifted a bust of Raj Kapoor at the Tashkent International Film Festival.
Yes.
And huge amount of people just came to watch all the old movies of Raj Kapoor.
Right.
And so many old people came there who were talking about the Raj Kapoor's visit to Tashkent International Film Festival.
Yes.
And how they all lifted a huge big car where Raj Kapoor was sitting.
Yes.
So
right. That's one of those great stories that I've heard as well. Where the people actually literally lifted that car and carried it.
The place even showed the street where
Yes.
where they lifted.
Right.
So huge impact. Till now, it's a huge impact.
Yeah, huge impact across Russia and the CIS countries. But Ekaterina, please tell us more about your film that you've come to shoot here in India. What's it about? What's Gems about? Is there anything of a Raj Kapoor influence in the movie that you're making?
So it's social impact movie.
Yes.
Which tells really sometimes sad, sometimes serious story about this small girl from Siberia
Right.
who dreams about visiting India.
A small girl
And,
from Siberia who
of course,
dreams
we
of
are
visiting
doing-
India. Yes.
It's in the style of traditional Indian movie. We are using dances. We are using original music. We are doing some core co-production music themes.
Yes.
When when we are using together Indian music and Russian music.
Yes.
And I'm sure that that will be very interesting for Russian audience, and I hope not only. And
Right.
of course, my producer's dream is to have the opportunity to receive the opportunity to show this movie to Indian people.
Right. We can't wait to watch your movie, Katrina. Especially it's a Russian production and being shot in India after many years. Bhavna Somaya, there's a lot of young people out there who possibly don't know enough about Raj Kapoor. I'm sure everyone knows Rishi Kapoor and Ranbir Kapoor, but not enough of Raj Kapoor. How relevant do you think is Raj Kapoor to 2024, the Hindi film industry today? What can he teach the Indian Hindi cinema, which is actually struggling? It's an existential crisis today for Hindi cinema. They're unable to connect with their audiences. If you see film after film, as you mentioned, are flopping. What can Raj Kapoor advise today's filmmakers in Bollywood?
A wonderful memory comes back to me. There was a phase when Yash Chopra's films were not working. And Yash Chopra was very upset, and he met Raj Kapoor. And he said that, I don't know what kind of films to make.
Right.
And Raj Kapoor told him, one does not change one's autograph. You have to continue making the films you do, and it will click. Because all you have to do is to follow your heart.
Right.
Raj Kapoor followed his heart with his intellect. When the Zenith Aman film, what was it called?
Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Yes.
But he was very clear in the message of it. And then, when Mera Naam Joker didn't work.
Yes.
And he got a lot of money. And he was depressed for a while. And he said, all right, if the world is all about the teenagers, I'll make a love story with teenagers.
Right.
He auditioned all the students in the school. That's how Dimple was found.
Right.
And he made Bobby.
Yes.
And he made the greatest love story. He's the inspiration for Suraj Barjatya, for Karan Johar,
Yes.
for Aditya Chopra, and for everybody.
Right.
And yet nobody can surpass his sophistication and
Yes.
his refinement.
Right.
His Sangam is an inspiration to Sanjay Leela Bansali,
Yes.
who made Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam.
Right.
The grandeur, the sex, and everything.
Yes.
The drama and the relationships and
Right.
gender equations that he brings about. I feel Raj Kapoor is as relevant or probably more relevant today than he was in his time.
Right.
It is just that we feel that the youngsters don't know about him.
Yes.
Because the youngsters are surfing, the youngsters are scrolling.
Right.
I mean, that song, Kisi Ki Muskurahaton Pe
Yes.
Ho Nikhar. It
Right.
is forever. It is about humanism.
Yes.
It is about compassion. Or Wo Subha Kabhi To Aayegi.
Yes.
It is about an ideology. It is about a belief for an utopian life.
Right.
Or a country and your own ideals.
Yes.
And and he carried it off with so much simplicity.
Right.
So much simplicity that everybody just connected to him.
Absolutely. There's a lesson in what you just told us, Bhavna Somaya, the fact that India's film industry, especially Bollywood, needs to really go and discover or rediscover their inner Raj Kapoor, and possibly, as you said, it's follow their hearts and their intellect, and possibly rediscover their mojo, the kind of crisis that Indian cinema is going through. But you just heard from Bhavna Somaya and Ekaterina Filipova, and of course Sarfraz, the producer of Gems, about Raj Kapoor and his relevance to India, Russia, and of course the Indian film industry. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.